Ladies and gentlemen, the farewell token will now be handed over to Lieutenant General Msimang by Lieutenant General Mbambo. Generals.
Just before I hand over this symbol to my brother, comrade, former Chief of the Air Force, General Msimang, we have been in command of this giant for 8 years. And we have been going through turbulent winds, but we have been steering it forward. So as a token of appreciation for the symbol of command, we are saying as members of the Air Force, let this symbol of command find a special place wherever you will be, and remember what you have done for the Air Force, for this country, and we say thank you so much with this symbol of appreciation. Thank you. This second one, General, it's as you see it, it's a table, and it's got the Air Force emblem on it, and it just has a simple message that says thank you so much for all what you have done in your tenure as the Chief of the Air Force, and when you are relaxed and have a cup of coffee and your dear wife serves you with a nice cup of coffee, and then think about the Air Force and remember.
At home, the other way around. I serve her.
Oh, you serve her. Whatever ways. Just congratulations.
Thank you. Please take a look at this. That's all. This is special. This is special. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks, Papa.
If you can still hold the position.
So, just 1 minute, sentence bringing this.
Oh, they're still bringing it.
Yeah, okay.
Whilst we are still holding him in position, I would humbly request the Chief of Staff, SANDF, to say a few words before we let him go. He still has to stand in position under my command.
The one thing he never said, this once terrorist who became the chief of the South African Air Force, is that I told the other colleagues, watch this eagle. Didn't he say this? The eagle is signed out? When the eagle was still in, you had to watch him. He's got an eye for talent. Never a musician. Yeah, he is, by the way, from his father, his sons, everybody is a musician in that family. Now, because of that, one of the musicians of mine, he stole from the army when I was chief of the army this young age. And I felt stupid. Because you sign out, somebody is getting a senior position transfer, and you can see still a junior rank, say, okay, it's advantage to him or her, you sign out. Then I noticed, okay, every time, Jeremiah Sondo, he pretends to be, his eyes will dart like that, and then he goes that way. The next thing is behind the stage, stealing your musicians. From there on, we started watching him. At least the eagle, we clipped his eyes to look from the skies. General Mbambo, you've worked with us for too many years. You've grown up together. And I just want to say, as you go now, we're humbled with the fact that you worked with us in the military command and the military command council, and all the tense moments. And I want to say on behalf of the chief of CNDF here that, well done, my brother. I know it was very tough for you sometimes, but damn, this man has got a heart of steel. He's very soft when he needs to. But when he's hard with a smile. He never loses his smile. Sometimes I will visit him to his house, and I will look into his plans, strategic plans, which he was mapping out for the Air Force for years. I think some of them got killed by the issue of the budget, basically, but a very focused man with pertinent detail, able to look up in the horizon, but able to put the detail on the ground on what he wants. He believes in content, and he believes in workable concepts. But on the other hand, he's got principles. Ma'am, he's got principles. If he believes in it, convince him scientifically that he is wrong, then he will agree with you. But he is stubborn when he doesn't believe it. And he needs you to be able to come to his territory to understand what he thought as the Chief of the Air Force. We'll miss him because sometimes when it was gloom and tough with anger at 2 a.m. in the morning, you know how many things? He will go during a break and he will start dancing and singing as if nothing was happening inside there. And inside there was a slaughterhouse. You might see us smiling and probably looking a little bit good, but it's not easy in there. But every time he had humor, when we didn't think there's nothing to have humor about. Small wonder, he managed to drive the Air Force since he took over from Ten Khakiano until now. And I was touched by that last say. The Black Hawk signs out. The Black Hawk has signed out, and the Black Hawk has done his job. Allow Africa to have a Black Hawk. The new Black Hawk has signed in. Welcome.
Thank you, Chief of Staff. I'm still holding the Black Hawk in position, so I have not yet released him yet. I would like to invite my dear wife, Wiseman Simo Mbambo, to join me here on stage. Black Hawk, I think this will be the last before I release you. It's a token of appreciation as well to you, to beautify your residence where you will be, your nest, to be very precise, because you are a hawk. So your nest, we are saying let it be comfortable and enjoy and look back and know that your job was well done. This is a token of appreciation from us. I would like to invite Mrs. Msimang to step onto the stage. I will allow Mrs. Mbambo is going to hand over a token of appreciation to thank Mrs. Msimang, who has been a very strong, and again I underline strong, supporter and sister throughout the journey that the General has been at the helm of the Air Force. Okay, sure.
To the Chief of the South African Air Force, General Mbambo and Mrs. Mbambo, on behalf of the Msimang family, I'd like to say thank you very much for the gestures that you've just shown to us. We're truly touched by the gifts, and most importantly, by the love that you have shown to us. To the Chief of Staff, on behalf of the Chief of the South African National Defence Force, I'd like to say thank you very much. Though we have hung our boots, we shall always be your foot soldiers out there whenever we are needed. We are there to serve in whatever capacity and at a drop of a hat. This is our Defence Force. This is our Air Force. It can only get better. It'll be a sad day when things work out differently. I am completely convinced that this is a new beginning for the Air Force. Under your leadership, my brother. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, we now have a man who's going to sing for us with an absolutely golden voice. Ntokozo Nkabinde, could you please come and sing for us?
Looking out across the nighttime, a city waits to sleep beside. I hear his voice do sing inside. Get me out into the nighttime. Four walls won't hold me tonight. If this town is just an apple, then let me take a bite. If they say why, tell them that it's human nature. Why does he do me that way? If they say why, tell them that it's human nature. Why does he do me that way? Ooh. Reaching out to touch a stranger. Electric eyes are everywhere. See that boy, he knows I'm watching. He likes the way I stare. If they sing why, tell him that it's human nature. Why does he do me that way? If they say why, tell him that it's human nature. Why does he do me that way?
Good. Chief of Staff, SANDF, members of the PDSC, and members of the AMCC, General Msimang and Mrs. Msimang, former chiefs of the Air Force, retired chiefs of services, Air Force board members, generals, military attaches present here, senior officers, Senior Chief Warrant Officer of the South African Air Force, captains of industry, members of the Spousal Forum, members of the media, warrant officers, non-commissioned officers, ladies and gentlemen, a special recognition of those who are participating also online. Appreciation. I owe my appreciation and gratitude to the Lord God Almighty, Jesus Christ, who remain a faithful captain of my soul throughout the days of my life. Like the sun that daily, without fail, rises from the east and sets down in the west, such has been your trustworthiness over my life. I will forever be indebted to you and do not have adequate words to thank you, my Creator. To the Department of Defense leadership, led and firmly guided by a seasoned hand of Imbogoto, Umama Mapisa Ngagula, Thank you profoundly for your consideration to entrust me with this awesome responsibility to lead the South African Air Force as the next Chief of the Air Force. I hereby give assurance that I will commit myself to execute this task with zeal, dedication, professionalism, and by exemplary behavior, thereby confirming that the decision you made was well considered. To former Chief of the Air Force, Lieutenant General Msimang and Mrs. Africa Msimang, thank you for all your efforts of leading this organization for the past 8 difficult years. It has not been easy, but you managed to keep the organization high and functioning with various initiatives you have implemented. To my dearest wife, Thokozani, the love of my life for over 24 years in marriage, through times and hardships, you have been a pillar of strength to me. Without your unfailing love, support, and tenacity, I wouldn't be standing here today. I love you and truly appreciate all your efforts. To my sons, thank you. Your tolerance and understanding, where your growing up has been punctuated with the painful holes of an absent father, always away on duty to serve the nation. I cannot fail to thank the countless prayer warriors who have carried my name in their secret closets to plead on my behalf for strength and wisdom to execute my duties excellently. Thank you to all of you. And your assignment, by the way, is not yet over, because the mission of praying for those in leadership positions is a lifetime commitment. Let me talk about combat readiness. Combat readiness, this is our core business as the Air Force, to be always combat ready wherever we are required to deliver on our mandate. We must do everything to remain at our sharpest readiness level. No doubt, there are many storms around us, but as eagles, we cannot afford to cow down to them. We shall continue to forge ahead in line with our intrinsic eagle characteristics and our motto, Aspera, Perspera ad Astra, from adversity to the stars. Since I have been in this seat for the past 34 days, I can confess that there is a sea of challenges confronting the Air Force. However, I can equally attest that there is an abundance of opportunities awaiting us to fully exploit to our advantage. Inaction breeds doubt and fear. Action breeds confidence and courage. If you want to conquer fear, do not sit at home and think about it. Go out and get busy. End quote from Dale Carnegie. To every South African Air Force member, I challenge you to approach me with 2 things: a challenge and a proposed solution. Soldiering is our common denominator. The diverse challenges facing the Air Force today are far more complex than what was happening 2 decades ago. I am conscious about the soldiers I have, the men and women in blue, who are my greatest asset to move and shake whatever challenge along the way. The essence of a soldier is what matters most because it forms the foundation of who we are. Our unflinching discipline and tenacity in the face of everything we face is important. Before I meet a technician or a mission controller or a pilot or any Air Force specialist, I want first to meet a soldier. Soldiership is a foundation from which I can build a formidable Air Force. Therefore, soldiering shall remain one of my focus areas throughout my tenure. We are soldiers first before we become anything else. And if we lose it, we lose ourselves. Self-reliance. Unless we grow our own timber, we have a little chance of survival in the highly competitive environment of scarce resources. We must be strategic and be prepared to pay the highest premium to develop our members. We understand the standard ecosystem cycle of defense force and the defense industry, which tends to become strenuous under the scarce resources. In contextualizing human tenacity, Judy Picoult, in her book entitled My Sister's Keeper, postulates, open quote, human capacity for burden is like bamboo, far more flexible than you would ever believe at first glance, close quote. We all have to survive under the prevailing turbulences, and as the Air Force, we shall enhance and deepen our members' skills and knowledge in order to save cost and to narrow our footprint to external dependency. We must understand the intrinsic value of military education to our defense force and the broader society. Viewing it from another angle, when the word military stands alone without the word education next to it, our people and everybody else must be worried. In this area, it is my purpose to ensure that the Air Force shall not be second best in the sphere of military education. Exploiting technology. The Air Force is a technology-driven organization, and we cannot afford to lose focus on what is happening in the world of technology. The fourth industrial revolution possesses a transformative DNA that have never been experienced by humankind before. In this revolution, we observe the fusion of technologies that is blurring the lines between the physical, digital, and biological spheres. The speed of technological breakthroughs is unprecedented, but differently. The scarcest commodity in this industrial revolution is time. Fortunately, speed, precision, and agility is what defines us as the Air Force, and we stand at a competitive advantage if we have the right focus and strategy. We must embrace the new approaches. The notion of closed systems, where countries pride themselves in developing powerful closed systems, is continuously being challenged by the development of open systems that have far-reaching advantages. Those who remain rigid in closed systems are likely to be swept away by the air transformative whirlwind of technology. Reflecting on the impact of change, Anatole France once said, open quote, "All changes, even the most longed for, have their melancholy. For what we leave behind us is a part of ourselves. We must die to one life before we can enter another," close quote. We shall continue to enhance our combat hardware because we know that the enemy can be taken out of the game much simpler and faster through innovative employment of military technology. We must be a technology-smart Air Force. We must value our stakeholders. There is no other time as valuable as today for us to enhance our relationship with our partners and to seek new friends under the situations of adversity. We cannot afford to work in isolation because if we venture into that direction, we shall die without achieving anything. The Air Force shall seek to continuously expand the tent of stakeholders and partners, forging alliances with other air forces, industry partners, and various institutions. Together, we grow and overcome many obstacles which we cannot manage if we are working in silos. Time is not on our side. A French general, after the First World War, called his gardener and instructed him to plant his favorite tree in his garden. The obedient gardener responded and said, "Sir, this type of tree takes about 100 years to grow." The French general quickly responded and said, "In that case, go ahead and plant it immediately. We cannot waste any more time." To the Air Force leadership and all Air Force members, let's go down to business. We have no time to waste. I thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the main course, as we've mentioned before, is in the form of a buffet. So the first 4 tables, if we could afford them the opportunity to please first serve themselves and then the rest in sequential orders, and the same with the tents outside. Thank you very much. Enjoy your lunch.